a lot of talk about partnerships with the private sector. So if we take, for example, air chefs, this was one of the more idyllic situations they were looking for in the privatization of air chefs was for a minority partner to come in and take a share in air chefs. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not in a hurry to go and become a minority partner with SAA or government in a public enterprise. I think there's still a bit of space to be covered there, ground to be covered in terms of what the private sector will be prepared to participate in, how they'll be prepared to participate in state-owned enterprises. I don't think many people are going to be in a hurry to go and take a minority stake. The underlying issue that comes with that is the fact that, to a large extent, many of the state-owned enterprises don't have the same kind of level of governance or understanding of kind of corporate governance that's applied in the private sector. We all get beaten over the head by King 3 and every other new pronouncement that comes out. That doesn't seem to be the same case when dealing with government departments. Because of the lack of experience, we do tend to find that a lot of the inspectors, etc., that deal with the aviation industry take very much a tick-box approach to say whether things are right or wrong without understanding the mitigating factors when doing audits on the aviation industry. So those are some of the bits that make it a bit challenging. In the bigger picture of Africa, the driver of aviation growth is really the middle class. The people who can't afford to fly can't afford to fly. The people who've got lots of money will always afford to fly. So it's really the growth of the middle class that drives the growth of aviation. And the African middle class, yes, it's growing by a large percentage, but it's coming off such a small base that we're probably going to be waiting another 20 to 30 years before the volumes are there to accommodate big enough aircraft to achieve the kinds of economy of scale that's required to deliver a low-cost carrier type environment. So we just don't have the economies of scale in Africa. We don't have high utilization of airport infrastructure, so the cost per flight from the airports is incredibly high. We don't have enough equipment at the airports because there isn't enough utilization. We can't fly big aircraft in Africa because there just aren't enough passengers to fill up the seats. So you end up with small aircraft, so your cost per seat is very high going into Africa. And therefore you end up with the airfares being very high in Africa, which closes the circle, which means that not many people can afford to fly. So we're continuously seeing people trying to look for mechanisms to boost the growth of aviation in Africa, but in the circle, someone's got to throw money into the circle somewhere to make this thing work. Now, either the industry's got to be subsidized by the service providers, but no one's got money to subsidize airports, or alternatively, they've got to subsidize the passenger tickets directly, but who's going to do that? Or alternatively, the economies actually have to grow, and things have to grow naturally like any other industry grows naturally with GDP growth.